By the time most people realize they're talking to a scammer, they're already hooked. The conversation feels normal. That's why the early signs are so easy to miss. Most people only recognize what's happening much later. The first sign is not something obvious. It's consistency. They reply quickly, regularly, almost predictably. At first, it feels like interest, like attention. But over time, it becomes something else. Control. Because when communication becomes constant, it creates familiarity. And familiarity lowers your guard. The second sign is subtle. They move the conversation from one platform to another. It might seem harmless and more convenient, more private even, but it removes visibility. And once that happens, there's no oversight. The third sign is how quickly things become personal. They share details and ask questions, creating a sense of connection that can feel genuine, because parts of it are. But the pace is different, faster than normal, and more intense than expected. And that speed matters, because it builds trust before doubt has time to form. The fourth sign is small inconsistencies, nothing obvious, just details that don't quite align. A story that shifts slightly, an answer that avoids the question, or a timeline that doesn't hold. Each one, on its own, is easy to ignore. But together, they form a pattern. And that pattern is often only visible when you step back from the conversation. The fifth sign is pressure. Not always direct or aggressive, just a subtle push. A reason something needs to happen now. A situation that can't wait. A problem that requires a quick decision. And that's where things begin to change. Because pressure reduces thinking. It moves decisions from reflection to reaction. And once that happens, things can escalate very quickly. What makes these signs difficult to recognize is that none of them feel extreme. They feel reasonable, familiar, even normal, and that's the point. Scams don't begin with something that looks wrong. They begin with something that feels right, but silence protects the person causing harm, not the person being targeted. Think again. Scams don't rely on a lack of intelligence. They rely on patterns that feel familiar. These patterns, how trust is built, how pressure is applied, and how decisions are quietly influenced, are explored in more detail in the book Break Free from and Avoid Financial Abuse. The book looks at how these situations develop and what you can do if you find yourself caught in one. Because recognizing the pattern is where things start to change. And once you see it, you start to notice it everywhere.